Okay, let's be real for a second. Have you ever gotten that first paycheck, looked at the number, and just felt confused? You are definitely not alone. Today we're going to crack the code on the mystery of the shrinking paycheck, the difference between that big salary number you were offered and the actual cash that hits your bank account.
Right? It's the big question. Wait, where did my money go? We've all been there, especially with that first job. You see the offer, you start doing the math in your head, maybe you're making plans for that money, and then, bam, reality check. It can feel like a total puzzle, but trust me, we are about to make it all make perfect sense.
So just how much are we talking about here? Well, you might want to sit down for this. For a lot of Canadians, we're looking at anywhere from 20 to 35% of your salary just disappearing before you can even touch it. I mean, that is a massive chunk of change. So where on earth is it going?
All right, let's put on our detective hats and dive into the case of the shrinking paycheck. Now, this isn't some kind of magic trick, even though it might feel like it. It's just a financial process. And I promise, by the time we're done here, you'll know exactly what's happening, which means you'll be way more in control of your own money.
And here's something that blows a lot of people's minds. That salary number, it's not a one-size-fits-all deal. You could have two people, both making, say, 70 grand a year, but they could take home wildly different amounts of money each month. It all depends on things like where they live or what choices they make about their benefits.
So the whole key to unlocking this mystery comes down to two super important terms: gross pay and net pay. Seriously, once you get the difference between these two, everything else about your pay stub just clicks into place.
Okay, so first up is gross pay. The easiest way to think about this is like the sticker price on a car. It's that big, flashy number that gets you excited. The one you see on your job offer. It's your total earnings, your base salary, plus any overtime or bonuses before anyone gets to take their slice of the pie.
And then we have the real star of the show, net pay. Honestly, this is the number that actually matters for your real life. It's your take-home pay. This is the money that's left after all the deductions are gone. This is what you actually have to work with for rent, for groceries, for saving, for, living.
So let's put it side by side to make it super clear. Gross pay, that's your earning potential. It's the big number you negotiate for. But net pay, that's your spending reality. That's the cash that actually shows up. So remember, you fight for the gross, but you live on the net.
Okay, so back to our mystery. Where is that money going? Let's unmask the first group of suspects. These are the ones you can't get away from, the mandatory deductions. You literally have no choice in the matter with these. They are required by law.
In Canada, there are three main ones you'll always see. First, there's income tax. That's what pays for stuff like our healthcare system and schools. Then you've got the Canada Pension Plan, or CPP. Think of that as you paying into your own retirement piggy bank for the future. And finally, employment insurance, EI, which is that safety net in case you lose your job or need to take time off for a baby or an illness. Yep, these three are totally non-negotiable.
But it doesn't stop there. After the mandatory stuff, there's another group, the voluntary deductions. Now, these also shrink your take-home pay, but the key difference is you choose them. And honestly, they usually come with some pretty great long-term perks.
So what are we talking about here? Well, things like putting money into a company pension plan or a group RSSP, which, by the way, are awesome ways to save for retirement. It could also be the money you pay for your health and dental insurance, or maybe union dues if you're in one. Even donations to charity can come off here. These are your choices, the ones that help you build the financial future you want.
All right, theory time is over. Let's put all these pieces together and actually crack the numbers. We're going to walk through a real-world example so you can see exactly how that big, juicy gross salary transforms into the final take-home pay.
It all boils down to a pretty simple formula when you think about it. Your net pay is just your gross pay minus all those deductions, both the mandatory ones and the voluntary ones we just talked about. I like to think of it like a funnel. Your whole salary gets poured in the top, the deductions get filtered out in the middle, and what comes out the bottom, that's your cash to spend.
So check this out. Let's imagine someone in Ontario who's making $5,000 a month, gross. First, whoosh, off come the mandatory deductions: federal tax, provincial tax, CPP, and EI. Then we take off their personal choices. Let's say they put $200 into their RRSP and $75 for their health plan. And boom, just like that, that $5,000 is now $3,735. It happens fast.
Wow, okay, and looking at it like this really paints a picture. In this example, a full quarter, 25% of that person's pay is gone before they even see it. You can see about 12% goes to taxes, another 8% to CPP and EI, and 5% for those voluntary choices. That leaves just 75% as their actual take-home pay. I mean, when you see it broken down like that, it really puts things into perspective, right?
So we've cracked the code, we've solved the mystery, but let's talk about what really matters now. What does all this mean for you and your wallet? Because this isn't just some boring math problem, you guys. Getting this stuff is absolutely critical for your financial health.
If you remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. Gross pay is your earning potential. Net pay is your spending reality. I love that. Your gross pay is the dream, right? But your net pay, that's the real world. That's the actual money you have to budget with, to live on, to build your future with.
So what can you do with this knowledge? Here are a few key takeaways. Number one, and this is the big one, always make your budget based on your net pay. Never ever use the gross number, or you'll end up overspending. Number two, figure out what your benefits actually cost because they're rarely free. 3, keep in mind that every province is different when it comes to taxes. And finally, make it a habit to actually look at your pay stubs. You want to catch any mistakes right away.
So there you have it. The mystery of the shrinking paycheck is officially solved. You now know the crucial difference between your potential and your reality. That knowledge is power, and it's all in your hands now. So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you know your real number, what's going to be your next money move?